All right, let's talk about something that I'm guessing has bugged a lot of you at some point. After all those years in school, why do so many of us step out into the real world feeling like we know absolutely nothing about handling our own money?
I mean, seriously, think about it. You can probably name the parts of a cell or remember the date of a historical battle, but balancing a checkbook, understanding how investing works, for most of us, it's like a massive blank space. So what gives? Well, it turns out the answer is pretty fascinating, and to find it, we need to go way, way back.
You see, to really understand this, we have to look at why our modern school system was created in the first place. And here's a spoiler. It wasn't designed to create a generation of financially savvy, independent thinkers. Nope. It had a much different, much more specific goal in mind.
Believe it or not, the model for the schools you and I went to actually comes from 18th century Prussia. They were the ones who came up with this idea of a state-run, mandatory school system. Then, in the 1840s, an American educator named Horace Mann saw this system in action, thought it was brilliant, and brought the basic idea back to the U.S. After that, it pretty much took over.
And this is the crucial part. The goal of the system changed. The Prussian king wanted loyal, obedient soldiers for his army, but when America adopted the model, it was right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. So the goal wasn't to create soldiers, it was to create a nation of good, reliable, and skilled employees for the booming factories. So let that sink in for a second. The system, from its very DNA, was built to create a workforce. Teaching kids how to become financially independent, that was never, ever part of the blueprint. Okay, so let's jump to today, because obviously a lot of people have realized this is a huge problem. And right now, there's a massive nationwide push to get personal finance courses required in schools. And you know what? It's actually working. Get this, by 2025, 29 states, that's more than half the country, will guarantee that high schoolers have to take a personal finance course to graduate. That is a huge shift from just a decade or two ago. And some states are absolutely leading the way. Utah has had this in place since 2008. Others, like Nebraska, have jumped on board more recently, and more are coming, with Wisconsin's mandate kicking in for the class of 2028. And advocates like Dr. Billy Hensley really nail the core idea here. It's not just about one class. It's about giving us a foundation of knowledge that we can build on for our entire lives, like booster shots to keep us financially healthy. Okay, so problem solved, right? We're adding the classes, everything is going to be great. Well, not so fast, because some critics are pointing out that even with these new courses, there's a deeper issue at play. They call it the hidden curriculum. So what on earth is a hidden curriculum? It's basically all the stuff you learn that isn't in the textbook. It's the unspoken rules, the values, the way of thinking that gets passed on without anyone ever saying it out loud. And it has a huge impact on how we see the world and our money. So when you look at what these new financial literacy courses teach, it's a lot of the practical stuff, right? We're talking about making a budget, how to save, what credit is, basically how to be a responsible participant in the economy as it currently exists.
But, and this is a huge but, critics say the hidden curriculum is all about what's not being taught. We learn how to shop, but not about the environmental cost of what we buy. We learned about loans, but not how to spot predatory lenders. We're taught how to play the game of consumerism, but we're never encouraged to question the game itself or how that game might be unfair for some people.
And that, right there, loops us all the way back to the beginning. Because if these critics are right, then the original purpose of the school system, to create good employees, is still humming along right under the surface, even in these new and improved classes.
I mean, Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just lays it out flat. He says the whole point of the system isn't to make you wealthy. It's to prepare you for a job. It's about earning a paycheck, not building a fortune.
And this quote really explains why this happens. It's almost by design. If schools actually taught you the real tools for financial freedom, like advanced investing strategies, or how to legally minimize taxes for a business, it would completely undermine the original point of creating a compliant workforce. It's the total opposite of the system's goal.
All right, so we've looked at the history, the modern reforms, and the big critiques. What does it all mean when we put all these pieces of the mystery together?
Well, when you boil it all down, you're left with two totally different philosophies. School generally teaches you how to work for money, how to get a good job, earn a paycheck, and budget what you have. But financial gurus and entrepreneurs, they talk about a completely different path, making money work for you by building assets, investing, and becoming a business owner.
So, the final verdict is, it's complicated. The school system was fundamentally not built to teach you about creating wealth. And while there's an amazing movement happening right now to change that and add financial literacy, there's a real debate about whether these changes go deep enough to overcome that original employee mindset.
And that really leaves us with the most important question of all, the one for you to think about. The system has its own design. Now that you know what it is, what's going to be yours?